This is All Out Politics. We're live today at the National Waterfront Museum in Swansea, Wales, the first stop of our four-nation tour this week of the UK. We're travelling across the country to get a snapshot of people's hopes and fears as we approach exactly 1 year until Brexit. Here in Swansea, people are in line with the rest of the nation, voting 52% to leave, 48% remain. So have opinions changed since then, and what will Brexit mean for the city? Joining me to discuss that are Mandy, St John, Davey, an entrepreneur, Jason Dutton, Managing Director of the business networking organisation 4N, and Catherine Butler, a head of butchers. Welcome to you all. So, Catherine, Brexit 1 year away. Are you excited, depressed, bored?
Well, I think for me as a business, as we were discussing before, is mainly, I don't think it's going to affect us that much, as in we buy a lot of our lambs and cattle from local farmers, so it's low food miles, they don't travel too far, and we are based here in Swansea selling out, so the import and export market, I don't think is...
But obviously the farmers must have concerns.
They don't tend to talk much about it. I know a lot of them did vote to leave, but... we don't tend to get them farmers coming to us. They would go to all the larger plants further afield.
What about you, Jason? Are you worried?
I don't think it's worried. I think it's more just there's a lack of knowledge. It's the uncertainty, I think, that's the bigger concern. I think we don't really know where we are right now.
What has changed since Brexit for you in your business? Not
a huge amount other than that continued uncertainty, I think. When we did a survey of our members, it was 60-40 in favour of remaining. We did a survey a year after the vote and it was almost the same, it was almost comparable. So right now I think people are just not quite sure what to expect.
And what is worrying them? What are the uncertainties that are worrying people?
I think it was largely the point that people understood what remain meant, but nobody could quite demonstrate to them what leave actually looked like, and I think that's the issue for them, is they just don't quite know what to expect.
How about for you, your business?
I'm quite excited. I can't see my business has changed very much. The rental market for private rental is still very, very busy. We still need those affordable homes. But looking at the other side of the construction, we do have a problem with skilled labour. We depend very heavily on the EU. 8% of our skilled labour comes from the EU. So I think we need to look at getting apprentices started. And I think that in time will fill that skills gap.
I mean, is there anything that can be done? Is it the question of reassuring people that they can still come and work here, or is it a question of looking to the indigenous population?
I think to get the domestic population is to get the apprentices. I think that's really important. Obviously, it depends on the government at Westminster at what they look to achieve with the passporting of the professional skills that we get from the EU, and get that certainty to everybody in the construction industry fairly soon. But I do think looking to schools and being able to look at the 13-year-olds and be able to look at the diversity of the industry and getting the momentum going of having apprentices and replacements, the cradle-to-grave replacements then that we need within the UK to carry us forward.
Do you find your customers are worried about losing the health standards that we signed up to through the European Union? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about American chlorinated chicken flooding the market, for example.
As the customers with us, because they know we've got our own abattoir, so they know everything is cared for and comes through and it's only handled by us. The EU regulations, I think, with Brexit coming, they still want the import and export market to go ahead. So our legislation then, I don't think is going to change.
But it could change, couldn't it?
Well, it could, but I think if whether we're in or whether we're out, we'd have to change with it.
I mean, anyway. When you're running an abattoir, what is it that you have to be concerned about at the moment? Is it European law?
European law, yes. It's European law. Everybody over here follows because of the export market. So the European community will buy unless we follow in them rules.
And are there aspects about that law which you find irritating, which you wish to change?
No, I don't think so. It's all for public safety. At the end of the day, that's what it's there for. With us coming out of the EU, we've now lost a lot of our funding. With a small little place like mine, we heavily relied on that with keeping all of our paperwork up to standards then. Whereas now I'm going to have to find whether the government will replace that with something, or whether something I'll have to do
I mean,
myself.
when you say you've lost your funding,
For like our HACCP plans, for all our procedures then that needs to be documented down. We had EU funding where they used to come in and make sure that it was all written and documented down for our business then.
well, they paid you to do that.
Not paid me. I had someone to come to the plant for free, and he had his time then.
And now
advice.
you're what, going to have to find someone yourself?
Yes.
What about you? Are you losing any grants or assistance?
No, I don't think that's going to have an impact in the short term. I think, economically speaking, it's more about the concern for our members in terms of their strategic growth. People are maintaining a holding pattern right now because they don't quite know what to expect down the line, so they're kind of keeping back all of their money that perhaps they'd assigned to growth opportunities. They're a little more wary, so they're keeping that money back just in case, because they don't know what the unknown brings.
I mean, Mandy, as you look ahead, do you think we're going to be here, your clients, people dealing with, we're going to be worse off or better off because we're outside the European Union?
I hope they're going to be better off simply because we'll be able to make our own decisions in the UK, and I think that to get house building moving quickly would be a great asset to the UK.
I mean, we've seen things like the IMF and the Organisation of Economic Cooperation and Development actually revising down growth in this country because of leaving the European Union. Do you think they're wrong on that?
Yeah, I mean, look, if international investors take away their money from property investing, we talking about maybe sort of London and maybe not so local, then it will free up the opportunities of empty homes. So that again frees up opportunities for people to move into.
But if the cost of homes goes down, not necessarily good for you, is it?
No, but I mean, property is always for the long game. I don't think you should ever get into property for the short game.
What do you think about the economic prospects?
I think we have to be cautiously optimistic. I think there's a chance for growth without such a kind of the bureaucratic involvement from Brussels. However, I think people are just very wary right now because they don't quite know what to expect, and they're putting their focus and energy into other areas like things like GDPR preparation, which I think is more prevalent for them because it affects them on a daily basis.
Do you think it's going to make much difference?
For my business, not for my clientele, then I don't think so.
And what do your clientele think? I mean, what do they say to you? Are they counting the days? They think they're going to be better off, or are they worried that places like this are going to lose EU funding? Because Wales has been a net recipient of money from.
They have, yeah. I haven't really spoken to our customers a lot about this, to be honest. But our customers are mainly concerned with low food miles and where the animals come from. So we'll just carry on with what we do, and fingers crossed that I am going to invest heavily in extra help in the abattoir.
Now, what about the skills? Because government is saying, look, there's an opportunity to skill up people who are here to fill some of those vacancies. I mean, what are the skills you think we should be concentrating on?
I think, there's a huge amount of skills. I think it's preparation for the digital age. I think people need, far more IT training, far more communication skills, far more general business management skills. I think.
And you're finding you can't get those people?
I think you can get them, but the concern would be that with the immigration issue, that you would lose very qualified or well skilled either by choice or by need, and I think that would represent. a concern.
You're employing, or your network are employing people who are
we've
got
a very eclectic mix of membership anyway. We've got literally thousands and thousands of members all around the UK, so we have a very, very diverse amount of skill base and expertise, both qualified and unqualified. So I think we as a business are actually okay, but I can see the bigger issue for other businesses.
Mandy, what about you? I mean,
yeah, I think it's replacing the EU construction skills that we currently relying on. So it's getting the bricklaying trades, the plumbers, the plasters, and the engineers.
We've fallen behind?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's been a shortage in the UK for a number of years, and we've known that. But we've all kind of in the industry said, look, we need to start looking at apprenticeships, and I think that's key.
And why is that? Is that because people coming in from abroad have been cheaper? Is it?
Yes, I think that has had a lot to do with it. There's cheaper labour from overseas. I think, for example, we have a huge shortage in the UK with engineers, and we've just gone outside to do that. And I think now is the time, I think, to reboot and have a look at what skills we've got in this country and to actually generate our own skills in the country.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do. I agree with everything Mandy said. Yeah, there is a shortage, and for me to try and get an apprenticeship, someone coming in is very difficult.
Why?
Because it's long hours, it's hard labour.
Yeah.
There are easier jobs out there to be had, and it's not the best paid job in the world. So, yeah.
And do you get any help from local government, national government in setting up apprentice schemes?
No, I haven't. But then again, I haven't fully looked into that either. That's something on the agenda to do as well, is to see what we can do to bring youngsters in.
I think it's a case of like some people, like for example in the construction industry, they don't see that, young people don't see that as a career, and I think it's all about awareness, going in and raising the awareness of what actually disciplines are within the construction industry, and then they'll see that as a career. And I think that includes women as well.
Do you think we've passed the point of no return? I mean, do you all think it is going to happen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brexit is Brexit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
on that note of unanimity, thank you very much indeed. Very interesting.